Connect is their greatest competitive advantage. Our founding cohort starts Monday, February the 16th, and only a limited number of seats remain. Enroll right now at TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com.
Yeah, this is all good.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too unsettling. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique the Prima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique the Prima. Go sis.
First things first.
Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Actually, I do. But my very first thing every day is prayer, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God. Asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Happy Thursday. It's a Think Tank Thursday. Time to put on our thinking caps, kids. What's wrong with me? I got no sleep. And usually when I don't get any sleep, I'm a wee bit punchy, so forgive me. But, I'm going to be here with you every day, rain or shine, unless it's vacation. Anyway, this is how we do it on a Think Tank Thursday. Hour one, we look local, left coast side of town and its connections to the world. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a hot topic or a person of interest. So right now, we got lots of time today. Me, you, and the microphone, telephone, and Miles over there. What? Honoring Michael Jackson today. And you're welcome in at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580 on your old-fashioned landline. You can find us on YouTube streaming at KBLA 1580. You just go to youtube.com. We're streaming on Facebook. We're available on the apps, all the apps. My favorite is Instagram. I'm not going to lie. But I'm on all of them. And you can, comment, like, dislike. It's all good. Just follow and support. That's the main thing. So hour one is me, you, and the microphone, telephone. Hour two, we will hear from you and me also, but we'll have the opportunity to talk with Dr. Jared Ball, a professor of Africana and Communication Studies at Morgan State University in Baltimore. Looking very forward to that conversation. And then hour three, we're going to do a think tank topic, liberation theology, the role of the church in getting us through this perilous moment politically, not just here in the United States, but around the globe. We'll be joined by Dr. Tabitha Jones-Jolivet. But I am challenging us, in hour three, to put on our thinking caps and think about, unbox how we're leaning on faith to get through this, what we expect or would like to challenge our faith leaders to do. And that is all in the mix today. My Think Tank Thursday topic for hour one And it's interesting because it's a local issue, but it's become a national issue because I see it reported on all the national news sites. What is happening in LA with our mayor's race, right? The fact that Nithya Raman, the LA City Council member, she was supported in her original campaign. She was kind of like the first progressive council member to shake up things at City Hall here in LA because she was to the left then. She was to the left of most of the folks on the council at that point, and she was supported by the Democratic Socialists of America. She's been an ally to our mayor, and the mayor actually saved her backside because Council Member Raman was being challenged heavily by a well-funded candidate to her right and was staring certain defeat in the face when the mayor stepped in, Mayor Karen Bass stepped in and went door knocking for her, literally walked the streets knocking on doors, asking people to vote for Councilmember Raman, and then stopped her and the mayor and her allies stopped the Democratic Party, the official Democratic Party, from backing the other candidate, which would have been a real problem for Councilmember Raman. So she pretty much saved her campaign. Long story short, Raman's reelected. And then at the 11th hour, she announces, and from what I understand on pretty good intelligence, nobody knew. Like, even her closest allies did not see this coming. Councilmember Raman kept this close to her vest, and at the 11th hour announces she will challenge the mayor. That means our two most viable competitors in the current election cycle, and believe me, the election cycle is on, are both women, so that's good. They're both progressive, so that's good. But here's my question to you for our Think Tank Thursday. How does this change things in the mayor's race? How does it change things? What does it mean for the election, for our city, and for you personally? Very interested in that. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I kind of started off the week talking a little bit about what I think it means. I had my friend and colleague Jasmine Canick here, and she made some really good points, starting with, well, why? Why do you suppose she ran? And I've been thinking a lot about it because I think we really are at a time when we need somebody effective. I mean, whoever is at the helm of our city, and right now it's our mayor, Mayor Karen Bass, has got to be able to effectively and competently deal with local issues, ye old potholes and copper wire and those kind of nuts and bolts issues. But they also have to be able to deal with the orange tyrant and what's happening in Washington day to day to day. They have to know how the levers of power work and how to protect our city from these massive cuts. They got to move like Claudia. When I say Claudia, I'm talking about Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, who has deftly handled this administration. They also have to be able to interact and interface with the state legislature, know how to get the money to our city. We're competing with a huge state with many, many counties. And yes, we have a big population, but a lot of times where the money goes has to do with relationships and also understanding of the system. Now we know our current mayor was a congresswoman in Washington, D.C. That was her last gig. She could have done it for life. She could have done it till she was old and gray, but wanted to come home and do something for the city of Los Angeles. And so she stepped down from her seat, ran for mayor, won. All that is history. We also know she was the first black woman to lead a state legislature as the Speaker of the Assembly here in the state of California. She did this under Governor Schwarzenegger, who was obviously as a Republican and was famously sort of unpredictable and non-traditional. So that would seem to be a resume that one would say, well, you're in the perfect position to lead the city at this moment. What are your thoughts about why? What is the impact on the city and you personally of Raman jumping in the race? That's my Think Tank Thursday question for you right now. And of course, there's lots of other things to talk about and look at in our city. But this is on my mind because this election, and I know it seems like, oh, it's the beginning of the year, it's in the far off distance. No, fam. It is February 12th, 2 days from your Valentine's Day. And the election is June 2nd, I believe. It's first Tuesday in June. Folks, that will be here before we know it. I can't even believe it. It's already February, but that's another story. This is not a Think Tank Thursday question, but I'm just wondering, do you have a Valentine? Do you have a Valentine? Do you care about Valentines? I'm not going to comment too deep on that. I do not have a Valentine. I am my own Valentine, and I am such a great Valentine. I take myself out to dinner. I buy myself flowers. I take myself to the movies. I have a job. I'm kind and considerate.
A good man.
No, I'm not a good man, but
good man and a good woman.
I'm a good Valentine, and I believe I'm a good woman, but I'm not a good man. No.
I mean, you sound like, look, you sound like you hitting the criteria. You got a job, you said, you get flowers. Come on now.
I would love all those qualities in a man, but I would not love a man like me because I'm not very manly.
Gotcha.
I like my men manly.
Okay.
I know that sounds terrible.
A lot of these men ain't manly either.
Who you telling? But I don't mean to reinforce stereotypical gender roles. I'm just saying that's my preference. Okay. Miles, you got a Valentine?
I don't. I wish I did, though. I'd love to be in the spirit and be real giving and, romantic right now. I love that.
So, get yourself some. Do women get men flowers? Get yourself some chocolates, some flowers. Give yourself a massage. Get yourself
there we go.
A massage. Yeah.
We go.
Yeah, get yourself a massage and be real sweet to yourself. That won't make you a good woman. It will just make you a good Valentine.
Hey, self-care. I got you.
Self-care. I'm not doing galentines, but I'm definitely into self-care Friday, Saturday, Sunday in honor of. And it's the All-Star Weekend, so I think that's, in a way, that's Valentine for many of you.
We go. Yeah.
The basketball people. You can call me. It's a great time to call me, 800-920-1580. Be a good man, woman, person, partner to yourself, whether you're celebrating or not. Some people say, oh, that's pagan, it's terrible. Okay, then ignore it if that works for you. Yeah. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima. That over there, that's Miles Lowe, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy, and he been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free edition only. Roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form 1040 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax Free Edition. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, Student Loan Interest, and Schedule 1A.
We've got a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
You know what? Miles be over here clowning me. Okay. Oh, that's me. Whoops, sorry. Ha. Little bit of YouTube background. See, I watch us in the chat. Now you know, in the YouTube stream at KBLA 1580 on YouTube.com. Okay, so I asked you the Think Tank Thursday question about how you think this impacts the mayor. You've heard a little bit of my take. And I said Nithya Raman was probably the most progressive on the council when she was elected. But I might have misspoken. I definitely, I would say Councilmember Mike Bonin was probably one of our more progressive council persons ever, actually. Of course, now you have a whole new group, that wasn't there when Raman first got elected. You've got Hugo Soto Martinez, you've got Eunice Hernandez, you've got Isabel Jurado, all of them very progressive, relatively. And of course, at the time he was elected, Council President Marquise Harris Dawson was also considered progressive. Now, compared to these newer council members, he would be a little bit more moderate. He'd be considered a little bit more moderate. In any case, former council member Mike Bonin, who I believe was pushed out of office because of his stances in trying to help the homeless, the unhoused, and some folks felt like he was not punitive enough and too forgiving, loving. I don't know. In any case, Mike Bonin is definitely a progressive voice in LA politics. And he gave his take on an Instagram post on what this entry of Raman into the race means. Got me thinking. So let's take a listen.
Hey everybody, big political earthquake over the weekend when Councilwoman Nithya Raman announced that she was going to challenge Mayor Karen Bass for re-election and entered the mayoral race formally. Here at Pat Brown Institute, I often get asked my thoughts on the politics of the day, so here's some quick thoughts about what I think Nithya's entry into the race means. I think my analysis is that there are three groups of people who are winners as a result of this. The first are the voters of Los Angeles. This means that almost certainly there will be a runoff election in November, that this campaign will continue until the fall, when the electorate is larger, more engaged, and more representative of Los Angeles as a whole. That's a good thing. It also means that voters will have a greater opportunity to have a spirited discussion about the issues that they care about and about what direction they think the city should be going in and what type of leadership it should have. That is good for the voters of Los Angeles, and that's good for Los Angeles. Contested elections are good. The second group of people who I think benefit are down ballot progressives. With the entry of a high-profile, nationally branded progressive running for mayor, it reframes the coverage and the understanding of every political race in the city, and it dilutes the power of conservative political actors such as the Police Protective League, the Thrive PAC, coverage from California Post. It means they have more targets, and that means that there's more freedom for the progressive candidates down ballot. And I think this will wind up helping them and creating the perception of and the energy almost of a progressive slate in Los Angeles. And the third group of people who I think benefit are, for lack of a better term, I'll refer to them as new urbanists, are the YIMBYs, are people who support increased housing density in Los Angeles, are people who support active transportation and mass transit and road safety, the kind of people who supported Measure HLA in the 2024 election. In Nithya Raman, sort of the new urbanist perspective, the pro-density, pro-transit perspective, has a tribune, a stronger tribune than they have ever had before. And if that political force is going to actually exercise muscle in Los Angeles, this is probably its greatest opportunity to do so. And I really think this is going to mean that housing is going to be one of the top issues in this mayor's race. That'll be a whole separate video. A lot to say about this race. Everything is still playing out. Things are still settling. It's going to be an exciting few months, and we'll be covering it and hopefully hosting a debate here at Pat Brown Institute. Stay tuned for more.
And of course, he is a leader of the Pat Brown Institute, Mike Bonin. Interesting analysis. He is probably way more politically astute than I am, and so it's worth thinking about on the Think Tank Thursday. I agree with some of what he said. Some of it I'm not so sure about. Love to hear your thoughts at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So he's saying this will force a runoff, and that's a good thing. It's probably will force a runoff because there's a whole bunch of other people running that may take a couple percentage points here and a couple percentage points there, like Spencer Pratt, the MAGA guy, and a bunch of other ones, right, that you haven't heard of, but somebody has. And so it makes it very difficult for either candidate to get more than 50%. It could happen, but it becomes less likely with a more known name brand like Nithya Raman. I'm not sure that she's nationally branded, though. I think that's a little generous. I don't know if they're friends, but I think you could ask people I'll ask my family in New York, and I'm pretty sure not any single one of them knows who she is. And they are all very politically engaged. It's a family trait, you may have noticed. So I think that's a wee bit generous. I don't know that a runoff is necessarily a good thing. I understand what he's saying, that it keeps us focused on a November election on an off-brand year when we could be not as interested. But I don't know that it's a good thing because it requires the mayor to spend more time and money campaigning, and has less bandwidth to just focus on, us and keeping the city moving in the right direction. And the fact that it's going to be dividing of progressives. I don't know that I agree that a runoff in the mayoral race is a good thing. In fact, I'm going to say that I'm going to disagree with that. But, it is an interesting analysis. The spirited discussion part, I'm always here for that. That's my job, spirited discussion. I should put that on my business card. You should put it on yours if you're part of this KBLA delegation. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to have that anyway. Perhaps it will be more spirited. I see it's already pretty spirited in the chat where Jerry Anderson says anti-blackness is in fashion right now. As it pertains to Councilmember Nithya Raman getting in the race. It does provide an opportunity for some folks to say that they are progressive while still opposing a progressive black woman mayor. So there's that. Kwamel asked, did Arnold Schwarzenegger do any lasting damage like Reagan and Pete Wilson did to California? That's an interesting question. I'm going to say yes, but maybe not in the same way because at least he was an environmentalist. I think it's going to, I do think he's right. It's going to be an interesting few months, lively, but I hope what ends up happening is in everyone's best interest. this idea that the down ballot progressives will benefit, meaning people, running for council districts, people running for dog catchers or city council races in, smaller districts that you might not be thinking about, or whatever else is on the November ballot for the city of LA. You'll have more turnout, so I guess that's better for progressives anywhere on the ballot. Hadn't thought of that. Good point. Okay, that cheers me up a wee bit. This new urbanists conversation about density, I think it's been presented in a way that's a little bit simplistic, like it's YIMBYs versus NIMBYs. It's, yes, in my backyard, build more and more density versus not in my backyard. We don't want housing here because we're snobs who just want our single family houses, or we're rich people who don't want poor people, renters and apartment dwellers around us. And I think it's more nuanced than that, right? For example, I was talking with a merchant yesterday here in the Crenshaw district who was explaining to me that these apartment buildings that are popping up like mushrooms all along the Crenshaw corridor, and this may be happening in your city if you're listening somewhere that's not LA, but on Crenshaw specifically, they cannot put the entrance and exit to those buildings on Crenshaw. So that means all those people have to go out, in and out, on the smaller backstreet Victoria. There's a bunch of family homes, there's kids, there's people trying to live their lives there. All of a sudden, it's a crush of people and traffic. Now, I don't think those people are snobs. If you live in Crenshaw, those are probably working class, lower middle class families that have been there, many black families, some Latino, for a long time. Do they suddenly want a bunch of people who can afford the new rental apartments crushing their street with traffic and taking up all the parking? I think that's a little different than the simplistic view of the new urbanists, of which I suppose our governor is one. 800-920-1580. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The House has voted to end President Trump's tariffs on Canada, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats and only 1 Democrat opposed.
On this vote, the yeas are 219 and the nays are 211. The joint resolution is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The measure now heads to the Senate. In Iowa, a House subcommittee meeting briefly erupted Monday when doctoral candidate Abigail Escatel was removed after slamming a table near Chair Stephen Holt. Lawmakers say she attempted an assault during debate on a bill banning DEI and critical race theory courses. Escatel accused legislators of ignoring America's complex racial history. And Jennifer Hudson is returning to Broadway as a producer. She'll help lead a revival of Dreamgirls. Hudson starred as Effie White in the film adaptation, and this marks her 3rd producing credit, with the show set to open this fall. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan dealers and NissanUSA.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers go into the All-Star break with a nice win in Houston Wednesday night. Kawhi Leonard converted a clutch 3-point play with 2 seconds left to give the Clippers a 105-102 victory. Leonard scored 19 of his 27 points in the 4th quarter. New Clippers guard Benedict Mathurin had 16 points and 3 steals off the bench. The Clippers are 20-7 since December 18th. The Lakers are at home tonight against Dallas. Luka Doncic will miss his 4th straight game with a hamstring injury. Today at 4:30 at LA Live in downtown LA, the men's basketball teams at Hampton University and North Carolina A&T will be celebrated at a pop-up event sponsored by the NBA and Foot Locker. The teams are in town for Friday night's HBCU Classic at the Forum in Inglewood. The game kicks off NBA All-Star Weekend. The pop-up is free and open to the public and includes a performance by the marching bands from Hampton and North Carolina A&T. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. acres paved into highways, fields burned, homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And good morning. I do appreciate you being here. 800-920-1580. That's the number to call. So many stories going by as they flood the zone on us that sometimes I forget to mention things that I think we need to know. One of those I haven't touched on was crazy story. A fire captain with the Pasadena Fire Department was arrested for child sex abuse crimes. This guy's name is Christopher Ramstead. They say he has been doing this for years and years. He was arrested last week while he was off duty. He's 47 years old. He was released on a $500,000+ bond, and he's been working in Pasadena since 2005. He was promoted to captain back in 2016. So he was put on administrative leave, and he'll be back in court at the end of February. And it's just crazy because we're dealing with this issue of pedophilia on a national and international level because of the Epstein files. And here we have somebody right in our midst. Just a reminder, I think, for me as a mama, for you as a parent and a grandparent, sometimes, not sometimes, all the times, we got to listen to our kids. And like I always say, don't make them hug Auntie Tilly or Uncle Bubba, or don't make them go with the authority figure that creeps them out. Okay? Just a reminder, because sometimes we as Black people especially, we want our kids to be so respectful that sometimes we put them in scary and dangerous situations. What? The Queen is on the phone, the chairwoman of the chat room, Molly Bell, straight out of Compton, the birthday girl. What's up?
God, reparation in memory of our ancestors, and God bless morning to you, Dominique, Miles, and to all of KBLA 1580, First Thing First family, and especially to those who are in the chat room. I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I like Karen Bass. And Dominique, when I didn't know you like I know you, one of the first things that I was able to see you Karen Bass and Marquise Harris Dawson do is to go to the gas stations. For those who didn't know, they used to sell 40 ounces in the gas station where you going to get behind a wheel. And Dominique, Marquise, and Karen Bass, along with so many others, did it. Sometimes, Dominique, I look at words and I see them. And when I see a woman, I see the word man. When I see the word women, I see the word men. When I see the word lady, I see lad. When I see the word she, I see he. When I see the word her, I still say he. I think Karen Bass has worked hard on things, and when we can say we saw a change. Some of these people who have money, Karen Bass, to me, was never rich. And I know you're not rich, Dominique. But
No,
if you
ma'am,
had
not yet. To keep hope alive.
but if you had a lot of money, I know it would go back to the people. And I'm saying that when there is havoc in this house, and it is in America right now, is that I grew up with children called Dick and Jane. And I didn't grow up reading books with Mafumba and different names like that. And so I'm just saying that look at what people have done. Everybody is ready to get some money from California, because I'm not sure, but you could let us know about that. Isn't California one of the richest states? And if California is one of the richest states, then Los Angeles is one of the richest cities. So I'm saying that look at Karen Bass, look at the work she has done, and you who go to the gas station early in the morning and get your gas, know that had it not been for Karen, had it not been for Marquise, had it not been for Dominique DePrima, we might be still selling 40 ounces. And for those who don't know, 40 ounces are huge. I don't know if Miles know what a 40 ounce is, but 40 ounce, I mean, you're going to get behind a car. And were you filling up your gas thing? I thought that was just so awesome. So I just wanted to call and say that. And for all the people who called and wish me a happy birthday, 79 is a big number, and I'm loving it. I'm asking for continued prayer, and I'll listen to your comments off the air. I just want to remind all you prayer warriors out there, and I know you're out there. You know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying, because the struggle continues. But always, to God be the glory. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Molly Bell. To God be the glory indeed. And happy birthday once again to the chairwoman of the chat room, the queen of Compton. Some interesting points. Actually, Molly Bell, it's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that. Do we credit Mayor Karen Bass with everything she's done for the city of Los Angeles? Because, of course, she founded the Community Coalition, which is one of our most formidable and effective community-based organizations. One of the reasons I know that, what Molly Bell was referencing concerning the 40 ounces, is that I sat on the board of that organization for many, many years. Probably 15 years I was on the board of that organization. When Karen Bass was the leader of that organization, before she went to the California State Assembly, which was her first elected job. And then when her successor, her mentee, council member now, council president Marquise Harris Dawson, became the executive director of the organization, I was still on that board. And a lot of things got accomplished. One of them was converting many liquor stores that were crime magnets in the community into laundromats or other things that we actually needed, food stores, take things like taking beer out of gas stations, which makes no sense. If you don't want people to drink and drive, why would you sell liquor at gas stations? It's also real super ghetto. And then things like getting money for South LA schools, which was spearheaded by South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, which is a unit within the Community Coalition, which would not exist if it wasn't for Community Coalition founder Karen Bass. Now she's the mayor of LA, but we forget about all those things, right? This is generations of youth leadership that have been trained, that have been assisted in getting into college, been given academic support, but also trained as community organizers who brought back tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools, who ensured that South LA schools students have access to those A through G, those advanced placement courses. There used to be none or almost none in South LA high schools because of the work of COCO, as Community Coalition is affectionately known. They now exist so that South LA youth have the same opportunity, or I should say similar opportunity, because not exactly the same, better opportunity to compete for slots in higher learning institutions like UC Berkeley and UCLA, which are pretty elite. And those are just a couple of things: championing foster care advantages, payments, supplements, support for families, what they call kinship care. So when the grandmother or the auntie or, the sister or brother ends up taking the kids because one of the parents is incarcerated or drug addicted or whatever the case may be, killed, murdered, those families get some of the same support that a stranger would get if they took in the child, which helps keep families together. And of course, we know particularly black families are the ones that tend to be separated, that tend to have their children taken out of the home and sent off somewhere where they may not thrive. Okay? These are serious, solid accomplishments that the mayor made before she was ever in the mayor's mansion. So do you credit that, or do we only look at what she's done since she became mayor? And do we look at the insane obstacle course and the insane level of disasters that have been present since she's been mayor? All of those are things that we have to consider before June. And Piper Rogers says Karen Bass has done nothing for foundational Black Americans in the city of LA as a whole. My question to you, Piper, is, are you speaking of since she's been mayor, which I would argue that's not true, or are you saying ever, which I definitely know that's not true, looking at the track record of Community Coalition? I'll give you one example. The mayor of Los Angeles raised the wages. One of the first things she did when she got in office was raise the wages of LA City gang intervention workers. Most of those are former active gangbangers who now continue to represent their communities, but they do it to build peace, to stop rumors, and to make their communities safer and more resource-filled for everyone who lives there. That was one of the first things she did. A majority of those are black workers, and a lot of those are black workers who have gone for decades. At first they weren't paid at all, and then partly due to the work of the mayor when she was at Community Coalition and in the assembly, that actually became part of our city structure through GRID, which is the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Department. That came about because of then council member Martin Ludlow, then Community Coalition leader Karen Bass, Bruce Saito at the LA Conservation Corps, Bob Ross from the from the foundation world. Why am I blanking on his foundation? He funded the whole thing. His foundation funded the whole thing. Dr. Bob Ross. Those folks, Shell Dog, T. Rogers, Bo Taylor, those folks all came together to create Summer of Success, which had lots of success. I was the director on the ground of that program. I saw it with my own eyes. And then Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa was a big supporter of that. That dropped homicides in Baldwin Village down to zero, gave young black people, I was there. I was supervising those young people. They were all black people. They got jobs. Okay. And the community got enhanced and it was safer and there was food out there for everybody. So yes, that benefited FBA very specifically. And then that went on to create the GRID department, Gang Reduction and Youth Development, which actually helped get the levels of gang violence in the city of Los Angeles down to the kind of small numbers we haven't seen since the 1950s and 60s. That was under Mayor Villaraigosa. That was a program spearheaded by then Councilmember Martin Ludlow and then community organization leader Karen Bass. And it's still impacting FBA today because FBA are not killing each other anywhere near the numbers we were earlier before those programs. And GRID continues to help people that you would call FBA, Foundational Black Americans, and everyone, the children of every descent who also deserve to have safer, more resource-filled, more job opportunities-filled communities. So that's not actually factual. But the question I was raising is, my Think Tank Thursday question is, what does the entrance of Nithya Raman into the race? What is that? How does that change things for you personally, for the city, for the election? 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in on that. And I think it's a mixed bag. I don't know if it's what we needed right now, but it's what we got. So let's talk about it. Let's understand it. And I want to know what we are going to do about it. We got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help. Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit LADWP.com/leap. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and there's so much to talk about. I love interacting with the chat at KBLA 1580 on YouTube. Jen Williams says it's okay to like. Mayor Karen Bass, Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson, go out to lunch with them. Haven't done that in years and years and years. And years, if ever, but their politics is stale for black people. You can still buy liquor at a grocery store and drive off. Yeah, you can buy liquor at a grocery store. You can go to the wine, whatever it's called, wine store, the liquor barn is gone. But the point is, it's having it at a gas station was not a good look. And Jan, I know you're probably too young to remember when that was the case and how crazy it was at gas stations. And you had crackheads trying to clean your windshield, people buying 40s. It was really like, don't be a menace to South Central while, what is it? I can't remember.
Drinking your juice.
While drinking your juice in the hood. Yes, it was really that. Thank you, Miles. What you know about that? So my question is Councilmember Raman better? Is this a good time to have someone who's never dealt with national politics in Washington? Is this a good time to change, what did they say, switch horses in midstream? Is this a good time to get somebody who has zero experience dealing with state politics and where our dollars are going to need to be found? And many progressives, myself included, would like to see more progressive wins from this mayor. Agreed. You're not going to get an argument from me there. More black wins. However, are you telling me, and Jan probably won't call, but I challenge you to do so at 800-920-1580. Are you telling me that you think Black LA will do better without black leadership? Asking for a friend. I mean, the other question is, and I do think experience matters. And of course, Nithya Raman is no Donald Trump, right? But it reminds me a little of the conversation last election cycle around Trump and Kamala Harris. Oh, everyone was saying she's too moderate. She's not really a progressive, even though we know she's trying to rebrand herself that way right now. She locked up black men, which is actually not the case if you look at the record, but the talking point picked up a lot of traction. A lot of people claiming to be pro-FBA and pro-black really went hard on Harris. Some even went so far as to vote for Trump. And now look what you got. The anti-blackity, blackest black, anti-black blackness. You got hundreds of thousands of black women losing jobs. You got, I can go on, but it's giving a little bit of that. And I really want us to be thoughtful. And obviously here in LA, we're in a better position because it's not, although you do have the MAGA guy, Spencer Pratt, just like in the state of California, we have the MAGA guy, Chad Bianco, although it's worse at the governor race level because he's actually leading in the polls, which means we could end up with 2 Republicans on the ticket if some of these doggone Democrats don't be humble and sit down. Like some of y'all need to just not run. Okay? If you're polling 2% or less, bye-bye. Sit it out until the next time. Anyway, I digress. The point is, we're in a better position because at least we have 2 women running against each other. We have 2 alleged progressives. But as one progressive activist that I was speaking to yesterday said, Raman may be one of the more conservative progressives when you look at voting record. If you voted, if you're saying that she's more progressive than the mayor, but she voted with the mayor every single time, ¿cómo? How? Make it make sense. Break it down. Explain it to me. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Carl says, let's not get race in the way. It's not that race is in the way. It's just that race is a factor. Yes, I understand we're in a class war. Yes, I understand housing is a priority. And as, we have spoken about, right? The issue of housing will be very important in this race. Again, but you don't disregard race. Race is a factor, especially in LA, a city that's being gentrified out, a city where black people, and it's so dynamic what's happening right now in the Crenshaw district and in Leimert Park, where I'm broadcasting from right now. On the one hand, you've got a lot of gentrification, a heavy influx of higher income folks, of people that ain't black coming in, buying here, renting here, because it's affordable to them. Not affordable to us, but affordable compared to the West Side, compared to Beverly Hills, compared to Venice, Santa Monica, et cetera, et cetera. But on the other hand, you got black people buying the block. You got people like Prophet Walker. You have people like Art and Practice. You have folks like Black Lives Matter LA. They're buying buildings. They're buying businesses. Leimert Park is more black owned now than it was 10 years ago, even as we see the influx of gentrification. So LA is interesting. Black folks here are flexing our power in a way that makes me proud, in a way that makes me hopeful that we will not be erased. When the chocolate city in D.C. went from the chocolate city to the white chocolate city to the, not so chocolate at all city, that, my sister still lives there. She's black. There's still black people there, of course. But the point is, it ain't the chocolate city no more. It got gentrified, and black people weren't able to or didn't have the boldness to buy the block like they're doing here. A lot of that is millennials. It's Miles' generation. Some people call it black gentrification. But gentrification means that people are being pushed out. If your kid who grew up in Baldwin Hills, View Park, Leimert Park, Watts, South LA, goes to college because of your sweat, and then that kid comes back and has the wherewithal to purchase a building or open a Soul Folks or a Somerville or a Hilltop. Is that really gentrification, or is that us reaping the benefits of our own success? If upscale or nice things are put in place by black people in our community for us, is that really gentrification? Anyway, I want us to think deeply about this, whether you call in or not. What does this mean? Really, what does it mean? What does it mean concretely for your everyday life, right? On the governor's race level. And Paul, you're right. I mean, we got to look at the World Cup, the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games, the Super Bowl. All that stuff is coming here. Who's going to be the leader of our city, of our state? And all of that balanced against this new Confederate, oligarchical, kleptocratic, fascist government that we have in the White House. Where's the balance? Who do we need at the helm to give us the best possible outcome in California, which, to your point, Molly Bell, is the fourth largest economy in the world, not in the United States, in the world, LA being one of the financial generators of that state. I'm Dominique DePrima, and we're continuing the conversation, looking so forward to talking with Dr. Jared Ball next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The House has voted to end President Trump's tariffs on Canada, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats and only 1 Democrat opposed.
On this vote, the yeas are 219 and the nays are 211. The joint resolution is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The measure now heads to the Senate. In Iowa, a House subcommittee meeting briefly erupted Monday when doctoral candidate Abigail Escatel was removed after slamming a table near Chair Stephen Holt. Lawmakers say she attempted an assault during debate on a bill banning DEI and critical race theory courses. Escatel accused legislators of ignoring America's complex racial history. And Jennifer Hudson is returning to Broadway as a producer. She'll help lead a revival of Dreamgirls. Hudson starred as Effie White in the film adaptation, and this marks her 3rd producing credit, with the show set to open this fall. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder,